here this morning with Kat Thomas from Beasley Broadcasting Group, and looking forward to an interesting discussion. Hopefully we can learn a little bit about where you've come from, where we're going. So, Kat, I want to kick off kind of just trying to get to know you a little bit. So, what's your role and what do you do day to day?
Actually, I am a program director. I'm also the digital program director and also the OM for our group here in Las Vegas. Jammin' 105.7 is the station that I run day to day. We have a 5-station group here, KKLZ, Coyote Country, News Talk, as well as KOAS and a Hot AC. And then I also oversee our digital operations, where we're continuing to grow our digital online presence, building audience, building interactions through our social media, and also working on our streaming products as well.
Okay, cool. And then what do people think that you're the best in the world at? What's do people think is your particular expertise?
Believe it or not, probably music and dealing with artist management, and I've had a good ear for current-based music as time has gone on, so it's one of my strengths.
Okay. But where does your expertise actually lie? What do you really get? What are you really going to get down and dirty day to day?
You know what? I'm good at a lot of things and probably not great at anything. I'm more of a I guess more Renaissance person, where I am really good at structuring radio stations and branding radio stations, dealing with their music, creating larger audiences through branding and all the tools that we have. I've really I would say my strength is in understanding the audience's needs and being able to put together brands and products that really drive home and build audiences in the Las Vegas market.
And what did you do before you actually entered this industry?
Believe it or not, I worked as an assistant golf pro down in Florida. I went to school for radio at the Ohio State University. I have worked on air, started off on air, became a promotions director, worked into music director, did production, assistant program director, dealing with music artists, concerts, things of that sort, and into program director. I spent a bit of time with another company as the vice president of their top 40 and Hot AC divisions, overseeing 47 stations across 42 cities. And came home to Las Vegas, and happy to be working for Beasley here. A great company and a great brand, bunch of stations. So it's really exciting kind of to build the brands here locally and extenuate the successes that we've had.
And are you actually doing what you imagined doing when you started out?
Pretty much so. I mean, I've been very fortunate in the fact that I've got to, do something I love, and I always joke around that I get paid to play, so it's kind of fun.
It's the best job.
Awesome. It's really nice to hear when you kind of dreams come true. And so, kind of digging a bit further into that, how important has kind of radio and audio been to you, and how have you seen it change over the years?
It's been my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, as technology is driven, I mean, a lot of things that we were never able to do, we would have to, outsource doing video pieces for our radio station. And now, we have our own drone. I mean, I can go shoot, different promotions from the air, where before you'd have to hire a helicopter, it was cost ineffective to be able to do it. We can broadcast from anywhere. I can, through technology, I've been able to, update promos on the fly. If something happens, radio is such an immediate industry, and if something happens, I can get the recording, put it together in minutes, and then have it on the air within 4 or 5 minutes. Whereas before, we'd have to run somebody out with a microphone to get audio, and then come back and transfer it, and then spend hours editing it together before we could ever get it there. So technology's really changed the industry in the fact that we can do so much more quicker, and we can deploy more people with wide ranges of resources and abilities to make even a bigger and better product.
And what was the first radio ad that you actually remember?
That would have been probably when I was a little kid. We were in Toledo, Ohio, and we were listening to a radio station for a local grocery store, and my stepmom called because they were doing a contest for an A&P to win $500 in groceries or something along those lines. And so that's probably the first memory I get of in advertising, was that they were giving away products on the air, and they were promoting the AP store brand.
And why do you think that it stick?
Honestly, I think that the interaction with the audience was the most important thing. That they were giving the audience a reason to like their brand and to allow someone to interact with the brand.
And thinking back, how do you think that radio advertising has changed since that ad?
In some ways, I think it's become less creative a little bit. It's more about getting straight to the point of whatever thing they're bringing across. But if you still think today, the most successful ads are the ones that leave you thinking or entertained. And I think that sometimes we forget that that is the most important thing. And I think clients forget it, because you do have clients that'll dictate, I want this exactly. Well, okay, if that's what you want. But I think that we need to find ways to make it of interest to an audience, to open up our audience for interactions, and to find ways to really bring that emotion to an advertiser that allows people to feel something more than just hearing an audio signal.
That's a good segue, actually, because in terms of the attitude to audio in the future, where do you see audio's relevance in the entertainment factor on your day-to-day? Is it going to be more important or less important to us?
I don't think it ever wasn't important. I think, maybe in some ways we've allowed it to be devalued, or we've, gone on to shinier things than that. But I think when we see, whether it's personalities or advertisements or promotions that paint pictures in people's minds and get them excited about, events or things that are happening, then I don't know if we've lost our really the excitement of audio. But I think that it's up to us to find innovative ways to build audio into stories, into interactions, into becoming integrated back into people's lives. And it's something we do in programming. We try to come up with things that are fun for the listeners to listen to. We try to play, obviously, the best music they want to listen to, but music can't be the only thing anymore. There's more entertainment pieces that we need to bring to bear, and a lot of times, you look at the spots and dots that we say, you hit spots, you hit dots. It's kind of an old school thinking. We have to find ways to position ourselves into our listeners' lives, and that is really kind of the fun part of the audio.
Awesome. And from a consumer perspective, how is the way that they're listening kind of behaviour? How has that changed over recent years?
I think people get hit with a lot more than they ever had before. We now have, handheld devices, our phones, we have computers, we have iPads, we have access to more entertainment, whether it's audio, video, interactive, than we ever had before. You've got people who use Twitch, where they can create their own shows, and then they can, send people over to other shows and back and forth, and they interact with each other. You have, interactive TV, you have interactive devices now, whether it's Google Play, Alexa, Apple Pods. You have the ability, Apple broke that game with the Hey Siri. Yeah. Being able to, connect people to things that they want. So I would say that it's just so much more interactive, and there's so much more out there that when you do put audio out, or you do put programming out, you need to also tell people about it a lot more than you ever had. It takes about 25 times for a single message to sink in. So we have to talk about something. If we're talking about giving away pit bull tickets, we got to make sure that we're running that message 25 times before everybody in the audience has heard it once. So, that saturation makes it much more difficult.
And so in terms of, you talked a little bit about kind of drones kind of changing the game. What other innovations have you seen kind of come through recently which you've been excited about?
I do like the fact of through streaming and through the use of devices that people can take us with them everywhere. I think it's been a big advantage for radio because is now there's less actual AM/FM radios in homes, or we kind of saw ourselves losing that battle because as AM/FM radios were going out of homes and people were listening on whether it was devices or other means, you could listen through your TV. There's music and value through your TV. It really kind of has evened the game for us a little bit. It's brought us back up as a more relevant entertainment factor because people can have us on their desk with a device hooked to the internet. They can walk around the house and tell them to open up our app and play the station, and they can be a part of the station. Where before we were primarily a car, and then we'd have different events and externals, but now we can be everywhere. We can be on your phone. We can be a lot of places that we weren't.
And where do you see the biggest opportunities to grow in the coming years from your vantage point?
Actually becoming more of a 360 partner. I think that's why we call ourselves Beasley Media Group now. We started as a radio group, but now we've really become more of an interactive group. We have radio. We have the ability, through our websites and our apps to touch people, through a digital means, which has been a game changer for us. Whereas before we didn't really have video. Now, because of internet, websites, social media, video is a big part of what we do. Being able to, have events and brand our station through video and such as well. So, really, we're not just audio provider. We're an entertainment provider. Whereas before we were strictly stuck to a FM dial, an FM dial position or AM dial position. Now we have so many more touch points because of the technology and because of digital now.
There are a lot of servers next door.
Yes, we have racks of those, and I would say the greatest innovation we've had is just the technology has allowed us to touch a lot more people than we could just through a signal base.
And are your customers open to kind of changing their perception of you and coming to you as this expert?
I don't know if they look at us different. I think they look at us they've always seen us, our fans of our stations has always seen us as, a key to their local entertainment openings, whether it's concerts, whether it's events, whether it's music, whether it's our personalities. I think what we've done is we've been able to create a lot more touch points than we ever had before. We can, we used to always count on people calling in the request line. Well, now we can pose questions on Facebook and they're answering and we're interacting with them on Facebook or Instagram or, in Twitch or, a lot of other multi-level that we never had access to before. So I wouldn't say that they look at us differently. I think they look at us as we offer more than we ever did before. And now if they liked our brand, now they have more ways to interact with us. They have more ways to play contests with us. They have more ways to access us, and we have more things to tell them. Day in the life of our jocks. When they're out on the street, they can post something on social, and people become connected to them as personalities because they feel like they're living a part of their lives.
And so you think that kind of that two-way kind of engagement between kind of your customers and yourself is delivers value on both sides?
Oh, absolutely. I think the more interaction we have, the more our brand becomes important to them on a daily basis, and the more we become a part of their daily routine. That's not a bad thing for listeners and ratings.
Do you find in terms of talent entering the industry, there is a heightened sense of wanting to participate in the radio ecosystem? Is there growth and interest?
I think we went through a lull, but we're starting to see that come back up because, we have a lot of younger people who are interested in digital, and it was interesting because I was actually at a showcase for a new artist, and we were talking about how people stream from the streaming services and use radio and that, and she actually said that she sat down with Taylor Swift of all people. And Taylor said the difference is you can stream a lot, you can find streaming opportunities and that type of stuff, and it's awesome because you can make a living doing that and you get some exposure. But when you can get on the radio, it takes you to a whole new status level from a star factor. It's like if you want to become a household name and you want to become, someone who's seen in the industry as being a star beyond just music, but in life and lifestyle, that radio is what really adds that dimension to any up and coming artist, because there's so many. There were over 60,000 songs last year. I mean, streamed, released for streaming. Before, I believe, back in the 90s, the average was about 28 to 25,000 songs released. So, more people are creating music and getting it out there, but we still have, beyond our music, we still have large audiences because we bring more things than just the music. I mean, if we just streamed, that would be fine. But the reality is, in a market like Las Vegas, it's still only 20% saturation, 22% saturation, just because it's just music. We have personalities, we have events, we tie into local sports teams or other local concerts and things going on, which have a high interest to people. So we have a brand that's far more valuable than just spinning records.
And so we're very keen to kind of champion the future of this industry. And if I was just starting out, it sounds like you've had a long career that you actually kind of you dreamed and then you made your dreams come true, right? If I was interested in a career in this industry, starting out today, where would be a good place to start?
Actually, I think in digital department and in street teams on stations, because you have to get a feel for the industry as a whole, and there's a lot of competition now for content creators. There's TikTok. There's a lot of people who start content creation careers, and if you notice the ones that become highly successful, they find a niche, and then they continue to deliver on that niche because that's what the expectation of an audience is. And it's kind of the same way with radio stations or anything else. If you listen to a radio station, you expect certain personalities, you expect certain concerts, so that consistency helps draw an audience. So as these young people get into that, I think they start to learn that there is a consistency to their cadence of their social media. If they want to get into our business, they usually find a format that they like or they want to be associated with. They're usually drawn because there's artists and music, but they also see some of our personalities who become big community leaders, whether it's being in-game entertainment at a sporting event, whether it's hosting concerts, whether it's just being at community events or charity events and that. And there's a draw to that celebrity on a local basis that you sometimes don't get online. You might get accolades from people in all different parts of the country, but then the kids at school don't know who the hell you are. Yeah. So sometimes that celebrity that you get from being in your local community is pretty exciting as well, being recognized when you go to dinner and things of that sort.
Awesome. Now, to kind of wrap up, there may be a few people who haven't heard of the Beasley Media Group in the past. If they are going to find out a bit more about you and maybe tune into a station, which station should they tune into right now to get a taste?
Well, I mean, you've got, it depends. We have so many. I would say, what is your taste first? If you check out our Beasley Media Group, just Google Beasley Media Group. You can go straight to our sites and you can pick the brands and the style of stations based on formats, city, whatever you want. So you can check out any of our stations across the country, from Boston to Vegas to Florida to Detroit to all over the country, and find out what format you like and follow that one.
Magic. Well, look, thanks so much for being so candid and sharing today. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Cap.